Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Pratik Ranjan. And the topic for today's webinar is summer internship preparation, more specifically, GDPI Prep. Yeah. Okay. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So for most of you, the summer internship is scheduled this month. And what we need to understand essentially is the fact that you need to start now. Now there are two specific strategies that you need to do while preparing for your internship. One is knowing what precisely to prepare, and the second is putting this thing on a timeline, right? So this is precisely what we'll do. We'll help you figure out the things that you need to prepare for your internship in the first place, and then give you a timeline which you can follow to put these things in perspective. All along this conversation, you can keep asking me questions. If you have in any specific question, these are the 8 pointers that we'll follow while the discussion. So 8 point discussion here in this webinar. The first thing that we talk about, the first leg of your preparation is theory prep. Irrespective of which domain you're applying, whether it's operations, marketing, finance, genman, HR, or any other vertical, you need to first know the theory of it. Now, a caveat is nobody is going to ask you theory particularly. Nobody ever will ask you to define marketing or push, pull, ATL, BTL, or anything of that sort. But what you need to essentially understand is the fact that you might be assessed on mapping back to theory while you are talking in an interview. So from a talking point perspective, knowing theory helps you. Now, when I talk of theory, there are certain sources that you can follow. By theory, what I mean is you should skim the very essential basic things of the domain that you're applying for. Say if you're going for marketing, not knowing who your competitor is, not knowing the STP or Ansoff matrix or these theory would be a brutal killer for you. Or if you're going for ops, say knowing what an EOQ or a vendor managed inventory is might save your ass at times. Now, what the sources for these theory can essentially be the books that you're given in your B school, can be compendiums that are provided to you by various prep societies of your college or from other colleges, can be resources that you can download from conversations. The link of an ebook is there in this video. You can definitely download that, and it comes handy because it's a very small short ebook that you can skim before your interview or can keep handy all along your prep. The second leg of your preparation, the first one was theory, which is used basically to map back to what you talk in your interview. The second leg of your interview is applications. So once you're through with theory, you should know where exactly to apply this theory. Now, in any interview, you're basically being assessed as a storyteller. How well can you relate to instances or happenings in the industry while talking to the interviewer? So the first thing that you need to develop is applications of this theory. And this can come along if you're reading blogs. Read about blogs and companies, read about blogs of successes, failures, read about blogs of how companies have managed to do things in the past. So the journeys of companies, brands, mapping back to theory is something that will help you strengthen on the application front. The third and the most important leg of your preparation is going to be your CV and HR prep. Now, when I say CV prep, what I essentially mean is that every point on your CV, like in the very outset, you might say that I am from a particular school or a particular city, or I have scored a particular score, what you need to essentially do is substantiate that and understand the entire nitty-gritties of that. So suppose if I say that I'm from a city X, I should know it in and out. When I say CV prep, number every point on your CV, drill it down, delve deep into every point of your CV. Say if you have a scholarship, who gave you that scholarship? When was it started? What was the agenda? Who else gets this scholarship? Okay, something like that. So every particular point associated with this scholarship or this point on your CV should be known by you. So number every point of your CV, expand it in a notebook point wise, and then prepare your CV well. Now, while doing so, you have a shortcut that you can practice. Okay, so okay, I'll also elaborate about the HR prep and then go to the me map that I'm talking about. The HR prep happens in two legs. One is preparing the obvious questions. Now, when you're going for any interview, there will definitely be some obvious questions that you have to expect. Obvious questions like, tell me something about yourself, why marketing, why finance, or questions like why this company. Now, when you should know that when you're going for an interview, there are three types of selections that you're making. The first one is which domain. So if it's marketing, why marketing? Then which sector? You need to tell them, okay, is it FMCG, is it telecom, or is it any other sector of marketing? So first you select the domain, second you select the sector, third you select the company. So be clear on which domain, which sector, and which company. These are obvious questions that you need to prepare. Over and above this, you need to have a repository of questions, sorry, a repository of answers that you will say. You can never prepare for HR answers because it's not an exhaustive list of questions that you can prepare for. Therefore, what you can do is have a set of instances ready, which will serve as a bank from where every answer that you say will stem up. Okay, so to prepare this repository, you'll need to prepare a me map. A me map is a map wherein you write every detail pertaining to yourself and then you try to elaborate on it. I'll show you a me map that I developed for myself. So if I am Pratik Ranjan, where do I come from? What did I do at my school, at my college, in my internship, or here at IIM Lucknow? What am I doing? This is a map that elaborates various points. Now, every point on this map will be expanded while preparing my HR answers, and irrespective of what gets questioned in the interview, all my answers will stem from somewhere, one of these points, right? While doing this, also we also need to remember is that three points on your strong aspects and two on, say, your failures have to be prepared. So three instances where you outperformed, or three instances that make you very happy, or three instances where you stood out as a champion needs to be prepared, and two instances where you did not. So these five instances together needs to be prepared at length. So most of the answers where they ask you about your strength, weakness, or a place where you exhibited innovation or something like that can stem up from these instances. So these five instances are me map, your CV prep. Very, very important. Okay. Meanwhile, you can keep asking me questions. I'll take all questions when I'm done with discussing the pointers that I have in my head. Okay. The fourth leg of your preparation is the company prep. Again, if you are only done with CV prep, HR prep, and company prep, believe me for a fact, you are done with your prep. Every other thing, say theory or application or analysis or cases, can be bartered for, but you cannot compromise with your CV prep, HR prep, and the company prep. Now, when I say company prep, what exactly needs to be prepared for a company? One, the values of the company. I know when you hear the word values, vision, mission, it is globe or gas in the lingo of our B school. But essentially, when you talk of vision, a lot of companies, when they come for summers, they evaluate you on the vision and mission of the company. What I mean when I say that is, if you talk of Amazon interviews, they have a set of 14 principles, and every interview question will revolve around one of these principles, and you are being assessed on that principle. If you talk of Unilever, for that example, for that matter, Unilever will talk to you about 5 standards of leadership. Now, these standards of leadership will be assessed while you are talking in an interview. Therefore, being informed about the company's vision and mission helps you frame your answer, tailor your answers with respect to that particular company. Apart from the vision and mission, you need to know the portfolio. This is very, very important. When I say portfolio, what I mean is that you need to understand which businesses is the company in. If you're going for a Genman company, say if you're going for ABG, if you're going for Mahindra, if you're going for say RIL, just a second, I'll look at some questions. Yeah. Okay. If you're going for ABG, Mahindra, TAS, RIL, RPG, you need to know what businesses these companies are in. And which business would you be interested to work with? Why? Why that choice? You need to justify that. Okay, so knowing the business of the company is integral. If you're going for a marketing company, you need to know the portfolio of the company. Which brands is the company in? Does the company make? What is the product line? What has been the history of these products? The heritage of these products? What have been the new launches, the recent launches of these companies? Why has the company been in news recently? And what are the future plans of the company? Now, this will not only help you in interviews to stand out as an individual, but also in your GDs. Now, if I give you an example of what had happened in Nestle's GD last year, the topic given to us was orange is the new black. And one of the respondents mentioned that companies these days are focusing more on orange than black. And then he substantiated by saying that because naturals is a trend in the market, people are wanting to become more health conscious. If companies focus on making orange juices or fruit drinks in general, rather than making carbonated black drinks, it would be more profitable and more in line with the market demand. Therefore, orange has become the new black. Now, when you know that a company is wanting to invest in a particular thing, you can make such a point. Therefore, knowing the company helps you not just in your interviews, but also in GDs. Therefore, know the companies, their values, their portfolio, know their recent news, and also know their future plans. This is the third leg of your preparation that you need to take care of. Fourth leg of your preparation. The fifth leg of any marketing Genman interview would be doing cases. Now, see, the case prep that you do for a consulting company would be very different and less extensive as compared to a consulting company while you're going for a marketing or a Genman company. In a marketing company, cases would revolve around market entry, crafting a GTM strategy, rebranding, relaunch, product development, and market sizing. So if you talk of GTM, you look at what competitors exist in the space that you're trying to enter. What does your consumer want? What are the core competencies of your company? So the three C's. Then you look at the marketing mix that it can be crafted. Given the analysis that you have done, you look at the STP, what segments, what could be the profitable segments, therefore which target, and then you look at how can you position the product. And then you launch the sales strategy of how would you be heading into the market. Therefore, 3C's, marketing mix, STP, and then finally the sales strategy. So this could be, say, a market entry case. All of this in line with, say, ANSOF or Porters or frameworks like these. So basically what you need to understand is that doing basic frameworks of marketing, all right, marketing cases would not be as structured as consulting cases, but definitely you need some framework to follow. So get a framework for market entry, GTM, crafting a GTM strategy for rebranding, relaunch, and product development. And most essential part of these marketing interviews is market sizing. Market sizing or guesstimates would mean what is the opportunity size? What is the size of price or size of opportunity? What is, the market potential? So market potential sizing. This is a very common question. I was asked about assessing the market potential of mouthwashes in Eastern India in my Unilever interview. Now, what you need to essentially understand is that while you're preparing a data list for these guesstimates or market sizing problems, be very specific to your places as well. So what place do you come from? What is your hometown? Therefore, what is the population of your hometown? What have you specialized in? If you're a mechanical engineer, you getting asked about the number of cars that run in a particular city, say Lucknow, is much more than, you getting asked a question of assessing potential of any other product. Therefore, market sizing or guesstimate would essentially revolve around your profile. Therefore, while preparing data for these kind of questions, also remember that you need to prepare this in line with uh, the things that are there on your CV. Okay, a small request to people who are watching. While you ask questions, also mention the B school that you're from, or any specific domain or any specific, problem that you have. Please mention that in the question. Do not keep it very generic. Now, okay, now if you talk of marketing prep in specific, the sixth leg of your preparation is ad analysis. Now, ad analysis is a subject which has confused people since time immemorial. What exactly do we do in an ad analysis? So there are two perspectives that you look at. Before we kind of drill down into ad analysis, let me tell you the two perspectives that you need to look at ad from. One is the consumer's perspective. How does the ad appeal to you as a consumer? What is the setting of the ad? What is the jingle that the ad has used? Okay, what is the celebrity that comes in the ad? What is the ad talking to you about? Whom exactly is the ad talking to? We'll take examples and elucidate it, and then the marketer's perspective. What do you think have been the marketing objective behind this ad? Now, if you look at consumer's perspective, let's talk of Wheel, Tide, Surf Excel, and Ariel. Now, these detergents are very different. If you look at Wheel and Tide, they are detergents which cover the more utility-driven consumers, whereas Surf Excel and Ariel would be catering to the hedonic consumers or consumers who have graduated in their hierarchy of needs. And if you look at Maslow's pyramid of needs, people who are at the physiological needs would need a product that caters to their basic needs, right? So therefore, Tide and Wheel talk of basic utility. What you would look at in a Tide or Wheels advertisement is that a packet would swipe over a dirty piece of cloth, and then it becomes white. The only thing that I'm trying to convey to you in very simple terms is that, hello, I'll come to you, I'll clean your clothes, and that is it. Wheel would say Nimbu ki shakti ke saath or gulabon ki khushbu, something like that, right? So what it talks to you about is essentially your clothes getting clean. But look at what Surf Excel or Tide tells you. Surf Excel tells you daag achhe hai. Surf Excel is catering to consumers who have graduated in their hierarchy of needs. Therefore, you have to build an emotional connect with these consumers and talk to them on an emotional appeal. Create an emotional appeal. But if you look at what Ariel does, Ariel talks of things like share the load. So therefore, Ariel tells you that you need to share the load with your better half. Okay, now, so therefore the strategy of Ariel and Surf Excel is to appeal to the consumer emotionally. So this is how you need to analyze. Okay, if you look at the setting, a Surf Excel ad would, Wheel ad would have essentially Salman Khan wearing banyan, a lady dressed in very modest clothes, and they only talk of cleanliness, clean clothes, right? But if you look at what Tide does, or sorry, if you look at what Surf Excel does, the setting is very premium. The setting always has a mother. The setting will always have a kid, because Surf Excel essentially caters and talks to the mothers, tells them, see, the process of learning is a messy process, and in the process of going out, doing good things, your kids will get dirty. We are there to take care of this dirt. We will get your kids clean. We will get their clothes clean, and therefore buy us, right? They're trying to build an emotional connect with the mothers. So the ad will always have a mother because the ad is talking to the mother. Okay. So this is how you need to look at the ad from a consumer's perspective. Now let's look at how you need to look at an ad from a marketer's perspective. Now every advertising spend will have a marketing. Okay, let me start taking questions also. I'll just start answering questions. Give me a minute. Now every marketing expense would also have a marketer's perspective to the ads, and these perspectives could be either increasing the frequency of usage, or the penetration of the product, or say the average size of average weight of consumption, which is how much do you consume when you consume. Frequency is how many times do you consume. Okay, now let's take one or two quick examples. If all of us remember the iconic ads of Axe, right? Now if you look at what Axe did, Axe was a market leader in deodorants, but they realized that if they do not grow the market in itself by increasing either consumption or frequency or penetration, their share would be eaten away by their competitors. Therefore, Axe came up with an insight, realizing that the people of globally spray deodorants only under their arms, and this was around 10 years back. Therefore, they came up with a communication where they were showing a person standing on street and spraying all across his body. Through this, they wanted to increase the average weight of consumption. Now, if you look at how we apply deodorants today, we spray it all across our body. And yeah, Chirag, I'll take your question. I can see a lot of questions coming up. Yeah, we'll answer these questions. Yeah, okay. So what acts did essentially was they increased the average weight of consumption. If you look at what Dettol tells you, Dettol will kind of zoom into your hand, zoom into where you're going, and tell you, see, kitanu, kitanu, kitanu. So essentially, they are telling you wash your hands more frequently. They're trying to increase the frequency. So this is how you look at an advertisement from a marketer's perspective. Now, before we look at the GD prep, let me start answering some questions. Okay. How do we research about the industry? Now, when you do the industry prep, essentially you need to look at by industry, what do you mean? Is it the domain that you're preparing for? So again, the prep for any particular industry or domain will be threefold. One, you prepare for the complete domain as a whole. So why marketing? Why HR? Why some other role, right? The next strata for this prep would be why a particular sector. So if say you've chosen marketing, why FMCG? Okay, or why telecom? If you're choosing HR, why a particular domain of HR, right? The third choice that you need to make as a candidate, as an interviewee, is the choice of a company. So when you're making the company research, you need to do all the research that I talked about while talking about company prep. So vision, mission, portfolio of the company, why was the company in the recent news, what are the future plans, okay, all these things essentially. So this is how you do your industry analysis. I think that answers your question, Vishal. Moving on to the next question, don't you think it's the wrong time for this video? See, Rohan, I don't know which B school you are from. Various B schools have their prep or their summer placement scheduled at different timelines. So we had got a request from multiple B schools, and therefore we took this video and scheduled it now. I don't think this is a substantial question. Okay. Pratik, I'm an aspirant from Unilever, is my dream company. How can I build my profile from now to get into a sales and marketing role at Unilever? Okay. Hi, Chirag. A very good question. See, if you talk of profile, Unilever or any other company essentially looks for storytellers. If you have been an informed consumer, if you have personal stories to narrate, right? Say, if I am a very indulging consumer, if I have a story that relates to, say, Maggie, and if I go and tell my personal stories, of course, while making sense, so marketing aspect of things, consumer aspect of things, bring them together, make a coherent story, make a very intriguing, engaging story, and narrate it. This is how you can, actually stand out as a person. If you talk of profile, marketing companies definitely look for spikes, definitely look for people who are more creative, who have involved in various extracurricular activities, have taken up various positions of responsibility. So if you are still in the phase of building your CV, maybe you can look at these points specifically and try diversify your profile. So this precisely should be a strategy, Chirag. Moving on, let's talk of the GD prep. Now see, you spend around 2 months making your CV, or even more at times, right? But you spend around 2 weeks or 3 weeks in your company prep, or in your entire summer's prep. But if you look at the shortlist that a company gives, so a lot of times on day one, or a lot of times on companies end up shortlisting a lot of people. So somewhere around 60 to 100 or even more people get shortlisted for a particular company. Now, if you look at the conversion rate from CV to company shortlist versus company shortlist to final conversion, the conversion rate here is very low. So somewhere, if you look at the final number of people that Unilever took from our college or any other company takes from a particular college, it's very low. Maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 4 or 5, right? So here is where the real fight lies. And the first step of elimination is the GD round. Therefore, getting the GD right is very, very integral. Now, certain questions to answer on the GD. What should the content be? Should I start or not? How should I conclude? How should I enter? What should I do if someone is trying to cut me? Okay, how can I draw examples and analogies in a topic where I'm not very familiar with the context being talked about? Okay, so let's start with the first question. Should I start or not? Okay, if you've ever been told that the first speaker in the GD gets a brownie point, let me very blatantly tell you that it's false. Because the first speaker does not get any points, the first effective speaker gets. Now, you need to understand that there's a difference between the first speaker and being the first effective speaker. The first effective speaker is the one which makes sense, right? So if you just, for the heck of speaking, if you come, make a point, go back, it makes no sense. The first effective speaker gets an added advantage. Therefore, speak only when you have a substantial point ready to talk about. Second, so this was about whether or not you should start the GD. In a scenario where you get an abstract topic and you have no idea about what to talk about, you can draw examples and analogies or parallels. So in a topic like, say, red, you can talk about what are the analogies or what are the parallels that you can draw to red. So red is symbolic of love, red is symbolic of danger, red is symbolic of power, lal batti, right? Red is symbolic of anger, red is symbolic of you blushing. So red on your face is anger, red in your heart is love, red on your vehicle is power, red on the road is danger. Okay, red in general is life. Red in Hinduism is a sacred color. So therefore you can draw parallel and talk about various perspectives of the same topic. Whether or not it's abstract or GK based or any other topic, this is precisely what you need to do. Some general do's and don'ts. Look around while talking. Do not chat back to the immediate preceding speaker. Do not look at just one person fixatedly. Look at everyone sitting in the panel. It's a group discussion, guys. Maintain a very upright posture. You should not lean towards anyone. So this is essentially that you end up doing not by choice, but inadvertently it just happens because you want to listen to the person, you bend towards him, and it gives out a message that you are an aggressive person by nature. Don't do that. At all points in time, please maintain an eye contact with the person that you're talking to or the group in general, right? Do not directly backchat. If you do not agree with a point, raise your disagreement to the group. Tell them that, okay, I agree to disagree with this point, or I have an alternate view to this perspective, and therefore this. Do not say that, hello, you're wrong, or let me ask you this question. Do not backchat to a person. Okay, so these are general do's and don'ts. Okay, how do we enter? When a particular person is speaking for a long time, or if someone tries to cut you very frequently, how do you make sure that you continue speaking? This is something that you need to understand. Okay, 3 strategies. When someone is speaking for a very long time and hasn't stopped and is a very loud, aggressive person, what you can do is start looking at someone else and start speaking. The person who was not ready to bend and stop will have to stop because every other speaker in the group will start looking at you. Okay, and you will become the natural center of attention, and therefore this person will have to stop. If you're speaking and someone tries to interrupt, maybe ask for a second from that person and say, I'll complete my point in another 5 seconds. Please allow me to speak. Okay, say that and continue speaking. If 3 of you speak together and someone else is trying to prevail over you, what you can essentially do is keep talking for 3 or 4 seconds. If the person stops, you can continue. If the person does not stop, you should take a back seat and see if you stop and the person does not in the first 4 or 5 seconds, and both of you try to keep speaking and then you stop, it gives out a good signal that, okay, you are the smarter and the better person to have sensed it and stop. But in the first 2 or 3 seconds, if you continue speaking and that person stops, you prevail over the person. So either prevail in the first 3 seconds, or in the 4th or 5th second, if you see that the person is not ready to stop, come back. Okay, so this is a strategy that you can follow. Hi Saurav. Saurav has a question. I am pursuing my MBA in marketing. So what do I prepare for internship interview for the FMCG industry? Now again, FMCG industry, if you have that choice clear, you need to first understand marketing, why FMCG, and why the company that you're preparing for. These are the 3 choices that you can make. About the 8 legs of prep that you have, Saurav, I have already briefed about it. Maybe you can just go back and watch this video again. So 8 legs very briefly is theory prep, applications of this theory, CV prep, HR prep, company prep, cases, ad analysis, and GD prep. So these are the basic 8 pillars of preparation that you need to follow for any company, any domain, or any sector. Uh, yeah. So I think we are done with this discussion. Again, a reminder for you guys: summer internship prep has a plethora of things that you need to do. But just to simplify this, keep a handbook ready. Inside IM and Conversations has already developed it for you. It's available in this video, in the link given in this video. Please sign up for it and download the ebook for various domains available here. And it will come handy all along your prep and just before your interview. So download the ebook, get it in print, and start preparing. Good luck. If you have any other doubts, you can reach out to me through Conversations or through Inside IM or even directly. I am Pratik Ranjan signing off. Thank you so much. Good luck, guys.